What are variables? Variables in Visual Basic are named memory locations to store and manipulate data in a program. Each variable has a type, which determines the kind of data it can store, such as a number, text, or boolean. Variables allow us to access and modify the data stored in memory. Variables can be declared using the dim statement and can be assigned values using the assignment operator. Visual Basic data types. A data type tells the programming element what type of data it can hold, how much space in memory the programming element should take up, and what the programming element is allowed to do or not. First up, we have the integer data type. An integer is a type of numerical data type that is used in Visual Basic. It does not store decimal point or fraction. Next, we have long. Long is also a numerical data type. It is used to store larger numbers than integer data type. Next, we have short. Short, similar to long, is used to store small numbers. Then we have byte, which is also a numerical data type. It is used to store very small numbers, specifically between 0 to 255. Next, we have the decimal. A decimal is a type of numerical data type used in Visual Basic. It stores numbers with decimal points. The decimal data type is the most precise as it provides up to 28 digits of precision. The double is also a decimal data type. However, it provides precision up to 15 digits. Lastly, we have the single data type, which provides precision up to 7 digits. Next, we have string. String is used for text operations, such as assigning names or labels. It can store a sequence of characters, like a sentence. Then we have char or character. It is used in Visual Basic to store a single character, such as the letter A, B, or C. We also have a date data type. Date is used in Visual Basic to store dates and times. It also provides a range of methods for dealing with dates and times, such as adding and subtracting dates, formatting dates, and comparing dates. Lastly, we have the Boolean data type. Boolean is a type of data type which can be used to store Boolean values, which can be either true or false. Boolean values are typically used to control loops, perform comparisons, and make decisions. We're having the variable name, and its type is string. We're going to store into it the name John. Next, we have the type integer of age, which will be 32. And then we have a height, which can be kept as a decimal. So we'll use the decimal data type. Now, we can store the gender as a string or as a character. It's totally up to you. For now, we have chosen the character data type because we just need to store the letters M. Next, we have the birth date. It will obviously be a date data type. To type a date in Visual Basic, we have to surround the date with hashtags. The date can be in day, month, and year format, separated with slashes. Lastly, we have the Boolean variable, which can be set to either true or false. And for this last line of code, we're simply outputting the data to the console. We are concatenating or joining all the variables together with the and we are creating a new line using the VBCLRF. It basically creates a new line for you so that you can output the text on a separate line instead of all on the same line. Let's check the output. We'll run it without debugging. This will open our command prompt where we can see that it has output our variables. We have the name John, then its age, height, gender, the date, and finally the fact he likes coding is set to true. We can also assign variables in many ways. We can assign it on the same line. To assign variables on the same line, we can use a colon. Let's combine the birth date and the likes coding on the same line. So we have combined the birth date and the likes coding on the same line. We just have placed a colon in the center. This is the same thing as creating a new line for each variable. You can see that the column has now disappeared. Similarly, we can create the variables as constants. You can create a variable as a constant when you do not want to change its value throughout the runtime of the program. Over here, I'm going to change the name to a constant value. It's totally up to you, but advised not to build the data type for constant values, as we are not going to change the variable at all. So we know its type will be staying the same throughout the runtime of the program. So we do not need the type anymore. Now, if we'll try to reassign the name, you'll see that Visual Studio will give us an error saying that name has become a constant value and it cannot be changed. However, the rest of the values can be changed in the same manner. Let's write another variable and we'll name it likes drinks. You can clearly see that both the variables are Boolean and have the same value. This will be a really inefficient way of writing variables when your program grows larger and larger. There is a way of declaring the variables on the same line. However, initializing them would be done separately. So we can declare both of these variables on the same line in this way. However, we cannot assign to them a value. The variable names will be separated by a comma. And in this way, you can declare the variables. Still, the variables are not given a value and both of them are default to false. So, you'll have to give them the value manually and declare it on a separate line. What you have just seen is that I have first declared the variables and then I have initialized them with a value. So this can be done for the variables. However, it cannot be done for constant. Look what happens if I will remove the value for the name. You will get an error by Visual Studio saying that constant must have a value. As previously mentioned, constants are only started and initialized at the start of the runtime of the program. Therefore, you have to give them a value in the beginning. So these were the ways you could manipulate variables and constants in your program. Now, you have seen me writing variables in a certain manner. This is what is known as a naming convention. The naming convention essentially allows you to create better code and readable code for other developers who are going to use your code. There are a few naming conventions or rules for writing variables. It can be lowercase or it can be uppercase, but in Visual Basic, we write the variables in Pascal case. Pascal case states that each word in your variable should have the first letter capitalized. For example, in the variable like drinks, I have the letter L and D capital. We also have the camel case, which is popularly used in other languages. In camel case, the first letter is lowercase, whereas the rest of them are capital. Now, it is preferable and it's advised to name the constants in a separate manner than the variables to differentiate between. So the naming convention for the constant is that we capitalize all of the letters. And suppose if your variable or the constant in our case is having more than one word, we'll separate them with an underscore.